All right, let's dive into Tony Fidel's build. Look, if you've ever used an iPod, an iPhone, or even a Nest thermostat, you've literally held his work in your hands. But this book isn't just a memoir, not at all. Think of it as a playbook, a real-deal guide forged from over 30 years in the trenches, building, failing, and, yeah, succeeding in a big way. It's for anyone out there trying to create something that actually matters.
So let's kick things off with what is really the core philosophy of the entire book. It's a quote Fidel says he wishes someone had told him when he was starting out, and it's so powerful. It's this reminder that the biggest, absolute biggest risk isn't making a mistake, it's doing nothing at all. This single idea, it's pretty much the foundation for his entire approach to making great things. So you might be wondering, why is his advice called unorthodox? Well, it's because this is not your typical Silicon Valley talk about, disruption for disruption's sake. Fidel's advice is way more grounded. It's rooted in this fundamental belief that while technology is changing at lightning speed, human nature, well, that doesn't really change. And that's exactly what makes his lessons so incredibly timeless.
And just look at his journey. It was definitely not a straight line to the top. He started at a company called General Magic, which was super visionary but ultimately failed. But that's where he learned some of his most invaluable lessons. Then, of course, came the mind-blowing success at Apple, followed by his own baby, Nest. And now, he's a full-time mentor to hundreds of startups. It's this whole progression, from builder to leader to coach, that gives his advice so much weight.
Okay, so Fidel's first big pillar of advice isn't about the company, it's not about the product, it's all about you. He basically argues that your career is a story that you get to write, and the main plot shouldn't be about chasing job titles or bigger paychecks. It should be about what you're learning along the way.
And this is his mantra for growth. It's so simple, right? He says that real learning, especially when you're trying to create something the world has never seen before, only happens through what he calls productive struggle. You got to try things, you got to mess up, and then you have to figure out how to do it better the next time.
The crucial point here is that your career shouldn't be some predictable ladder you climb. It should be more like a winding path, and you let your curiosity be the guide. And I love this image, right? Sometimes you have to let those early ideas just go up in flames so you can learn and rise from the ashes. You've got to surround yourself with heroes, people you can really learn from, because that experience, not some fancy title, is what builds a real career, especially when you're young and can afford to take those kinds of risks.
So, once you've focused on building yourself, how in the world do you approach building a product? Well, for Fidel, it's not about just cramming in as many features as possible. No, it's about crafting a really compelling story that solves an actual human problem.
And he has this huge warning about becoming paralyzed by data. See, great products, they're driven by a strong vision. Data is absolutely critical, but it should only inform your gut decisions. It shouldn't make them for you. He says data can be a crutch, or even worse, cement shoes.
He offers this brilliant, super practical tool to help you stay focused. Write the press release first. Before you've even built anything. This forces you to boil your product down to what truly matters to a customer. It becomes your North Star for the entire messy development process.
Now, a great product isn't enough, right? You need a great team. And Fidel's take on leadership is both really challenging and inspiring. It's all about pushing people to find out just how great they can be, not just about hitting some quarterly target. And here, Fidel makes this really critical distinction. He says there's a huge difference between someone who's passionately difficult because they care so much about the mission and someone who's just a jerk. The mission-driven folks, you can reason with them. You just have to ask why. But the ego-driven ones, nope, there's no reasoning there. This quote, which came from one of Fidel's own mentors, just gets right to the heart of what a manager's true role is. Think about it. It's not about being better than your team. It's about being a mentor who genuinely wants to see them become even more successful than you are. This story is just a fantastic example of how to navigate constraints. So the law said they had to put this hideous warning label on the beautiful Nest Cam. Instead of just giving in or fighting a battle they couldn't win, his team found this incredibly clever solution. They follow the rule, but they designed the sticker to be super easy to peel off without leaving any sticky junk behind. They respected the regulation, but they also respected the customer's experience. Genius. And finally, we get to what might be Fidel's most profound lesson. It's about what happens after you've built the product, after you've built the company. It's about realizing that your own personal journey is far from over. The fundamental point here is that we're never really done. Just like a product evolves from version 1 to version 2 and beyond, so do we. Our potential is always evolving. And Fidel's own life shows this perfectly. He went from being a builder to a mentor, where, as he puts it, his product is now people.
And so, that's what Fidel leaves us with. It's this direct challenge. This whole book isn't just a collection of cool stories and lessons. It's a personal call to action. It forces every one of us to look at our own potential and ask ourselves, what really matters? So the question is, what will you build?